Finn, member of the Providence Children's Museum Junior Advisory Board. I'm excited to introduce you to R.W. and Zoe Ellie. Bob is an award-winning illustrator, illustrating over 100 books by a wide variety of authors. He's also written and illustrated several titles himself. Bob is married to Zoe Ellie, and they live here in Rhode Island. Zoe is a children's book author and has written books such as There's a Wolf at the Door, There's a Princess in the Palace, and the Enso Racing in the Rain series. Zoe received her BA from the University of New Hampshire and Ed M. from Boston University. I'm excited to meet you both.
Hi, Finn.
Hi, Finn.
Thank you so much for interviewing us and inviting us to come to talk to the Children's Museum.
I'm Zoe.
I'm Bob.
Or RW.
Well, yeah, you can call me Bob. RW was an early idea that just sort of stuck around. But we wanted to talk to you today about writing and illustrating children's books. And we thought we'd do a couple things. We can show you a couple of the books that we have worked on together, and a couple that I have illustrated. And then I thought maybe I'd do a little drawing. And but before that, I think Zoe would like to read one of her stories.
Should we show some books first?
Sure, let's do that.
Okay.
You begin.
I have two books here that I have written and that Bob has illustrated. The first one is this, called There's a Wolf at the Door, and it was published in 2008. And
it's very large.
It's a big book. It's a big comic book size. I'll show you, for instance, an inside what it might look like a comic book. It even covers me up. And I'm going to be reading a story from this book later. And the second book I wrote in 2010 is its sequel, called There's a Princess in the Palace. And it's large also, and it's also a comic book format. And both, even though one cover is blue and one cover is pink, don't let that fool you for who it's for. It's for, either one is for any gender and anyone.
This is true. And also,
Bob illustrated and I co-authored this book, and it's a series of 4 picture books actually. This is called Enso Races in the Rain. It was the first in the series of 4. And Bob did the beautiful illustrations inside. I will just show you a fast page.
Well, it is a racing book, so the pages would have to be fast, yes. Yeah.
And then some books that Bob has worked on.
And I brought along 3 books that I thought would be amusing. One of my favorite early projects was a series of I Can Read books, early reading books, meaning that not too many words and mostly pictures, but the words are very important. And pictures are too, I suppose. And all about the detective dinosaur. And that led to my illustrating a bunch of books about this character, Paddington, who is a bear who lives in London. And he's been around for, as the sticker says on the book here, for 60 years. And I've illustrated about 20 or 30 of these books that Michael Bond has written. And they're a lot of fun. This is the most recent one and the last book that Mr. Bond wrote before he passed away. It's Paddington winds up becoming a member of a choir at a large church in London called St. Paul's. And then I also have written a series of 4 little books, and here is one of them. This one is called Brechin Over the Beach. And Gretchen goes to the beach one day and discovers that she is being left behind by her siblings. And so she has a few adventures as she's sitting on the beach on her own time. And her siblings don't quite get involved in. But then there are 3 other books about her. Each one of her siblings has an adventure. So that's, and I guess we should say that this is where we work. We work at home.
Yeah, you're in our home, of course, as everyone is lately. But we do work at home anyway, naturally, so that wasn't a problem for us. we have different spaces in the home where we each work.
I work in a studio that used to be a garage, and you work.
But it's really cool. It has a rolling
Yeah.
library ladder. It's pretty neat. It's a pretty neat studio. And I work on the couch.
It's a very comfortable couch.
In
I
my
might add.
jammies, if I wish to.
It's a very nice couch. Very nice couch. Would you like to read a story?
So I guess this is the point that I could read a story now from the Wolf book, from There's a Wolf at the Door. And I should say that this book, as large as it is made up of 5 different stories, all about wolves, stories that you probably have heard of before. Little Red Riding Hood, The 3 Little Pigs, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, and I've forgotten the other one. Let me look at the index. You all know what an index is, or a table of contents. The 3 Little Pigs, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, Little Red Riding Hood, The Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, and The Wolf and the 7 Little Goslings. But I've rewritten them from the originals. Okay, I'm going to read The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Barry was bored. Sheep herding, more like sheep watching, boring as broccoli. I need some entertainment. Uh-oh, here we go again. I hate it when he gets like this. He tried singing. Barry had a little lamb. Not his finest hour, is it? He performed amazing feats. Watch as the amazing Barry crosses the raging river. Thank you, I'm here till Thursday. I hear it was either sheep herding or the circus. Do you think he chose wisely? He did a little dancing. He's no twinkle toes, that's for sure. You said a mouthful. But nothing worked. Still bored, said Barry. Bored, bored, bored. It was at this point that the very hungry wolf appeared, thinking of roast lamb with mint jelly. Or maybe I'll make shepherd's pie instead. Unaware of his new visitor, Barry decided to shake things up a bit. What do we need around here? Oh, this is crazy. You can say that again. I need companionship. I'm not meant to work alone, cried Barry to no one. What are we, invisible? Never tries to get to know us. What this pasture needs is some excitement, some danger, some predators. I don't like where this is going. I'm with you all the way. Wolf, cried Barry suddenly. Come quickly, a wolf is eating my sheep. It is? I am? Hearing Barry's desperate cries, the townsfolk dropped everything. They gathered their wits, their sticks, and their stones, and ran up the hill to save their own dear Barry and his flock from the despicable wolf. What's with this kid? I haven't so much as pounced yet. Not the brightest candle on the cake, is he? And we all had such high hopes for him, better than that little Bo Peep. Arriving on the scene, the townsfolk were very annoyed. So where's the wolf? Got all of us up here for nothing? I left my delicious lunch for this? He rubs me the wrong way. It's true, there is no wolf as such, said Barry to the angry mob. Oh, what a great time to get to know everyone better. I'll start. Hi, I'm Barry. I'm not feeling it. If he wants a group hug, I'm leaving. Now I'm thinking peasant stew. Are you kidding? Cried the mob. We don't have time for this now. We've got lives. We've got jobs. We've got bills to pay. Get to know us some other time. No, wait, don't go. I'm lonely. I'm bored. I'm sorry. Too little, too late. Gee, they seem nice. As the day wore on, Barry grew more bored and even more foolish. Maybe I tried the wrong approach. Came on too strong. Maybe if I act more needy, they'll stay. No, he wouldn't, would he? I think he might. Yes, Act 2, what fun this is. Having just recovered from the earlier disruption to their day, the townsfolk were less than amused when they heard Barry's woeful cry once again. Help me, help me! A terrible wolf really is here this time. I'm so sorry for before. Help me, please, help me. Poor kid, he never learns. This isn't going to be pretty. Boy, he's got a future on the stage. Once again, the good folk wished to help a neighbor in trouble. They just moved a bit more slowly this time. Oh, after you. No, you first. Nice day for being fooled, don't you agree? Arriving on the scene, their displeasure was apparent. You didn't. You couldn't twice in one day. Some consideration, yelled the mob. Barry took this under advisement. No, wait, I think we got off on the wrong foot before. I just want a little conversation. Let's discuss something, anything. Do you like what I've done with the pasture? What he's done? How about us? What a muttonhead. The crowd left Barry alone, again, making no attempt to hide their true feelings. Lonely, what did he think sheep herding would be like? This boy's got issues. He's pulled the wool over our eyes once too often. Barry Schmerry, I'm through. Barry was despondent. All I ever wanted was a little companionship, a little excitement. Knowing when to make an entrance, the wolf made his presence known. Excitement, you say? Well, some have called me exciting, but right now I'm starving. And the wolf leaped toward a very startled Barry and his flock. Ah! Cried Barry. Wolf! A wolf! Help! 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 And he's hungry. My sheep, my career. Oh, help! Now the tables were turned. This time, the neighbors ignored Barry's cries. They paid him no attention. They were too smart to be fooled again. Funny the sound the winds can make. If he thinks I'm running up there again, he's whistling up the wrong tree. Oh, ramsey oats and dozy oats and little lambsy eyes. Is no one going to help me? Yelled Barry a little louder this time. But no one came. No one's coming, foolish boy, cackled the wolf. You sealed your fate by fooling people. I don't believe you now. Won't you join me for dinner? And the wolf inched closer to Barry and the sheep. Barry made a decision. His decision was to run in circles and yell for help. Not terribly useful, is he? I think he needs our help. Let's show him what friends are for. As the wolf approached, the sheep hatched a plan. On three now. 1, 2, 3. And a very large rock hurtled toward a very startled wolf. That's it. I'm leaving. What crazy creatures live up here? Must be the altitude. And there's a sign to Granny's house, which talks about the next story. Wow, thanks, Barry smiled with relief at his sheep. I never knew you could be so resourceful. There's not much you do know, is there? We've been so hurt thinking that you don't care about us. Let's try some I feel sentences. I feel sad when you ignore me. Hey, you guys are great, said Barry. I sure was wrong. I'm sorry. Barry had indeed found a cure for his boredom. First, he learned how to be a friend. I really would have missed all of you in the circus. We feel happy when you understand us.
So that was fun. That was a lot of fun illustrating. As you can see, Zoe wrote a tremendous number of words, which required a tremendous number of speech bubbles and
a tremendous number of pictures.
Yes, I have to admit, sometimes when I was doing the layouts for the books, I tried to leave out a few words here and there because it was a tremendous number of words and they were just crowding pictures.
But I caught him.
Yes, you did.
I bet your teachers all tell you that words are important.
Yes, I'm afraid they
are.
And they
should be in the right order and not left out.
In the right order and spelled correctly
and
too.
Spelled
it's
correctly.
It's always a good idea. So, and then the other thing we thought we'd do today was I was going to show you a little bit about how a character gets created and drawn. So come over to the drawing board. Using this whiteboard here, how well, let's say Paddington gets drawn. So every character and the wolf character and all those characters in the book that Zoe just read get created the same way. I always start out with a very, very simple shapes for heads and legs and body and arms sticking out like that. But really that turns out to be not very much of a character. So if I was going to draw, first of all, having a character standing with just his 2 eyes and a mouth and well, that was a nose, wasn't it? There's a mouth and a couple of ears. Not really very exciting. So putting a character in motion is more fun. And if you can think of your characters as simple stick figures, kind of like this, then it makes it easier to move them around a little bit. For instance, if I want to have this character walking, I'll have one like come up like that. And but then probably his arm might move over to this side of his body, and his other arm you might not see, but now he's not looking where he's going, and that can be dangerous. So we'll put his nose over here. So we'll move his nose like that. But then that means that eye is in the wrong place. So with that eye, take that eye and put that eye over there. There, 2 eyes, good. And then, his mouth should probably slide over there like that. Oh, he doesn't look happy, but there you are. And his ear can stay pretty much where it is. Now, if he turns out to be a bear, well, a bear would have a different nose from a people nose. So we'll get rid of that people nose, we'll put the bear nose, which is on the end of a snout, which is like out there. Oh, but now his nose is going to fall off his head. So we have to connect his head like that. And then his ear should not be a people ear. It should be an elephant ear. No, it should be a bear ear coming up on the top of his head like this. And Paddington is furry all over. So we'll add a little bit of fur here and around his legs on either side like this, fur. And then we can get rid of the stick part and he becomes all furry. But Paddington usually has a coat on. So we'll draw the coat around the furry part here like this and get rid of some of this fur in here. Yeah, there we go. Draw the coat to come down around the furry part like that. And then sometimes on a rainy day, Paddington will be wearing some boots. So we'll put some boots around his feet like that. Although it's not raining anymore. Sorry, it's not raining anymore. That would be specific to the day to this. So yeah, there we are. And then his ears are black. Oh, but he usually wears a hat. That's right. So we'll put a hat over his head like this. Paddington hat like that. And you can just see the little tip of his ear like that, and the buckles holding on his coat together like that. Oh, and he always carries his suitcase. So we'll draw his suitcase over top of that leg there, like this, with his initials, like that. And then, it's always when you're drawing, it's always a good idea to put a line under your character so he doesn't fall off the page like that, because you don't want him to fall down like that. And then, let's see, what other, well, he wouldn't be having his tag on his neck now because he's already living with the Browns in London, so he already has been found in Paddington Station. So, there's, doesn't look very happy, does he? No, there's one last thing that's always an important. It's interesting. I always start with the eyes or the nose of a character, but the last thing I usually put on is the part that really gives the character the most personality, which usually is just a little smile like that. And then I'll add one more thing. He'll be waving at you like that. So that's how a character gets constructed. And the way I do it, and I usually draw with this would usually be a small dip pen, and making a small ink line. This is a very thick ink line, but this is Paddington. This is, you can see with a little watercolor paint, this guy becomes this guy. So same suitcase, same hat, and he is looking at you, and I'm a little worried about where he's going. So he's not looking where he's going. So anyway. So, and that's the drawing process of just about any drawing that I make. So I guess that was what we wanted to show you guys today.
I think Finn had some questions for us,
I think
too.
he did too, and I think now's a good time to hear what Finn has to say.
We're ready for you, Finn.
Okay, how do we do?
I really, really liked your book and drawings. You write a lot about animals. How do you get your inspiration for what they might be thinking or feeling?
Write about animals. I like to try to make them like people. I don't really think of animals as being terribly different in their reactions than a person would respond. So my animals, when Bob draws them, not only tend to wear clothing, which most animals out there in the world don't, but some might.
Sometimes.
But they react and talk much like people do. And actually, mine tend to talk and act much like I do, which is kind of what an author can do. Insert your voice and your personality into what you write, which I bet you've heard of from your teachers too.
How did you decide to write a book together?
Well, I had always liked comic books when I was growing up, but I couldn't figure out, and I wanted to do a book that looked like a big comic book, but I couldn't figure out a good topic for it. And then Zoe came along and said, hey, what if we just retold some fairy tales? And I said, that sounds like a great idea. And then she said, hey, what if all the fairy tales starred a wolf? Do you like to draw wolves? And I said, hey, I like to draw wolves. So one led to another. So, and then as soon as I drew a picture of the wolf, I figured this was going to be something. And then Zoe started to take these fairy tales apart and give extra personality to all the characters, and it became a lot of fun.
The same wolf goes through all of the 5 stories in the book.
He's basically looking for lunch.
He's hungry the whole time, and you'll have to get the book to see what happens if he gets his food.
Mm-hmm. Did you make up stories for your children when they were young?
Oh, we sure did. We did a lot. A lot of times in the bathtub, which was a prime storytelling place.
Yeah.
They were in the bathtub, of course, not us. And we told them bedtime stories. And we like to do recurring stories, so stories that continue. We'd begin a story to have the same characters, and the characters would get in the same situations or different situations each time.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. I told a continuing story about a space dog, and which hopefully maybe will turn into something later. But each bath time was a different enterprise. It was something happened each bath. There's a lot of pressure, though. I have to say, there's a lot of pressure on you to come up with a new story, especially when you're trying to use shampoo. It's very tricky.
Yeah, careful.
It's very tricky. It's slippery.
Yes.
It's slippery storytelling is what it is, and dangerous. Dangerous in the bathroom.
It's fraught with danger.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Thank you, Bob and Zoe. I've enjoyed getting to know you and learn about your process. It's fun to know that you were kids who love to write and draw just like many of us.
Oh,
thank you, Finn. It was nice to meet you, and you asked great questions, and it was really fun to be able to talk with you.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
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 Bye.